for the late agenda this morning. I will endeavour to send them out a lot earlier in future. As you'll see, we've got a relatively short agenda today. It's more updates, just sort of following the summer period, and then we'll get back into the swing of having our more in-depth meetings on specific topics from our October meeting. With that in mind, it'd be brilliant if anyone's got any ideas for future agenda topics. If you can let me know. As always, I will do my best to try and get people in the room to speak to us about any areas of cooperative innovation or development that you want to find out more about, whether it's from another local authority or one of our affiliate members. Always happy to try and arrange some really interesting sessions. And ideally, it'd be great if we could get sort of a plan of meetings in between now and early next year. So if there are any topics that you'd like to see discussed, don't hesitate to get in touch and let me know. So without further ado, I will hand over to Nicola, who's just going to give us an update on CCIN elections and on the Democratic Business Summit.
Thanks, Jonathan. So I'm hoping that if it works, you will all have had in your inbox yesterday an email explaining what the process is going to be. So every 2 years we have elections for our Executive Oversight Committee, which is responsible for our budget and the strategic direction of the network. And once those are out of the way, we have elections for our Values and Principles Board. So we started off yesterday asking for self-nominations for the places on the board. So hopefully, if you didn't get it, can you put your email in the chat and I'll send it to you, but I'll also add you to MailChimp. And if there's anybody else you want adding to MailChimp, I can do that as well. You will also be aware, I hope, that our chair, Councillor Louise Gittins, Chair of Cheshire West and Chester, has been appointed as Chair of the Local Government Association. And as brilliant and as wonderful and as fantastic as it has been to work with Louise, she's stepping down from the CCIN because the LGA role is an enormous role and she can't do both. So we are now looking for a new chair as well. And because we have in place that the chair and the vice chair can only do 3 terms each, that's 3 terms of 2 years, then they have to stand down. They can then put themselves forward at the next opportunity. And we're also looking for a vice chair because Councillor Peter Bradbury is stepping down as chair or as vice chair. And he's from Cardiff Council. Don't know whether he's going to continue on the board, but we are in effect looking for a chair and a vice chair. So that email that you got is pretty self-explanatory. It goes through what we're looking for. So you need to be a leader or a mayor to be the chair of the network, but other roles are available to portfolio holders. And we also have one place for an associate member, which are the town, parish and community council members, opposition groups and affiliate members, who are those businesses that Jonathan referred to earlier. So thanks to Jonathan, we've got a really good job description for chair. I'm not going to show it you, so I'll make you go to the email and download it and have a look. We've got a job description in place now. We've got a terms of reference, which is part of our constitution, which you can also download from the website. What we're looking for is a minimum of 6 representatives, a maximum of 8. If we get more than that, then we will have elections. There's also a representative from the accountable body. So we always have a councillor from Oldham on the board, and then 1 rep from the associate membership and the affiliate membership. Again, if we get more than 1 application, we will hold elections for those. And then we have an ex officio place, which is the chair of the Values and Principles Board. So we'll start those elections. If everything goes to plan and we get between 6 and 8 representatives and only 1 person as an associate member and only 1 affiliate member, then we'll be able to declare who's going to be on the exec Oversight Committee on the 12th of September. And also if we've only get one nomination for chair and one for vice chair. If it takes longer than that, then I'll be doing elections between, so whichever group it is, so whether I'm going out to full members and asking them to vote on their reps, or associates or affiliates, or the chair and the vice chair. So nominations close on Thursday, the 12th of September. With a fair wind, notwithstanding, I'm at the Lib Dem Party conference and then the Labour Party conference between that date and the end of the month, and have run those elections. We should be able to start on the 1st of October with the nominations for the Values and Principles Board. So I've just let Fiona in. If you've got any questions, anything that's not there, I'm just going to stop sharing because I think Ben's got his hand up.
Yeah, just a quick question. In terms of the vice chair, which is that also just leaders, mayors, etc., or can that be anyone?
That can be anyone. That can be any a portfolio holder.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Also, just worth mentioning, Nicola, that I think it's a really good role for ambitious local politicians who are looking to build profile. And I think we've seen that in the past with the chair of the network, haven't we? With both Sharon and Louise, that it's been a really good way of building some really good relationships with the wider sort of Labour co-op community, as well as other colours and creeds when it comes to political groups. And I think making sure that if there are local leaders or other politicians who are interested in a role, making sure they're aware of that too. And yeah, hopefully that's a bit of an incentive to get some really good people on the EOC this year.
Yeah, I think it's important as well that just to add to that there isn't a massive time commitment. We only have like 4, maybe 5 meetings a year, but it's so important that people turn up. So unfortunately, the last couple of years, we've had a lot of apologies. In fact, a lot of the Values and Principles Board we haven't been quorate for, and that's really, so much work goes into making the network work that you really do need people that are going to support the business as well. So that commitment, and Jonathan and I haven't found this magic wand yet that short of saying, well, these people didn't turn up for half of the meetings last year, if we get contested elections, then I'm not sure what the answer is, but just having that commitment. And as Jonathan's just said, we've been so fortunate that the 3 founding members, 2 are now in the cabinet, and 1 is the Sharon Baroness Taylor. She's the leader for local government in the House of Lords. So we can't promise that political careers will just take off, but from previous experience, Louise now being chair of the LGA, it's a really good sounding board standpoint. Anybody else got any questions? No. Yeah, happy for me to carry on, Jonathan.
Yep.
Okay, and thanks for everybody who said that they haven't got those got the newsletter. It is on the website. I'll put the chat in. I'll put it in the chat after this. But I will check, because all of our newsletters go out through MailChimp, so it could be that your system is putting them into junk. So I'll do a screenshot to say that if you're not on, then I will add you. Okay, so item 3, the Democratic Business Summit 2024. So we've been given, this is the second Democratic Business Summit, and I'm going to do a double act with Jonathan Nunn on this one, because thankfully he went to the last one and he's going to the next one. So he can tell you what happens, but I'll give you I'll tell you about the opportunity. So we've been given the opportunity to be a co-sponsor of the summit for £2,500. That will mean that we could have a presence there in terms of an exhibition table. We can have 10 tickets for the summit, which, as the agenda says, is taking place in the Principality Stadium. It's the Millennium Lounge in Cardiff. We could, if we don't have that amount of interest, fund people to go, because it's £50 a ticket. So we could also pay for anybody who wants to go, if that's what we decide to do. So in terms of that sponsorship, I've been told that we can have 10 tickets. We can have our logo, a brand presence, mentioned in the spread in the October issue of the Stir to Action magazine. So for those of you who don't know, Stir to Action is one of our affiliate members. And they've been involved with quite a few of the policy labs that we've done to date. They've done work with Preston, Oldham, Kirklees. There's probably others sitting around the table that know Johnny at Stir to Action. So they've set up this organisation now called the Democratic Business Summit, and it's more business orientated. There's a lot around employee ownership, for example. So I believe that I sent this proposal out to everybody by email during the summer holidays, and I also put something on the WhatsApp group. If you're not on the WhatsApp group, it's the easiest way for me to communicate with you. So again, put something in the chat and I will add you to that. So far, I've had interest from Oxfordshire County Council. I think Emily's on the call, and Llanelli Town Council. And yeah, I think, yeah, Emily is on the call from Oxfordshire County Council. And as I said, Jonathan Nunn is also attending. In terms of other sponsors, they've got Friends Provident, Compass, Anthony Collins, Joseph Rowntree Foundation, Leading Lives, Co-ops UK. They seem to have 2 Welsh ministers confirmed to, I don't know the names, but 2 Welsh ministers to speak during the summit. On the screen, you can see which organisations participated in the last iteration. If Jonathan was there, we're not on the list.
They just don't think I'm a big enough draw.
No, they don't, do they? I see. I should have gone. I realise that now. So I'm just going to take that off the. I'm going to take that off the screen and hand over to Jonathan to tell you more about what happened last time and what he knows about what's going to happen this year.
What do I know about this year? Right. So I think the easiest thing I can do is if I drop into the chat the ebook that they did ahead of last year, which was gives a really good overview of what the gist was. There's a program as well, which I was just looking at, which is still available. And so during the day, it was a panel discussion in the morning that kind of set up the day, 2 workshops that ran in parallel that you chose from in the morning, a really nice lunch actually, and then 2 again parallel workshops that you chose from in the afternoon, followed by a closing session that kind of aimed to pull that together. The panel discussion was, why does business ownership matter? The morning workshops were about where's the evidence and building the case for democratic business, and then one on business support and developing the national and regional infrastructure. In the afternoon, the workshops were looking at the capital gap and financing the transition to a democratic economy, and then one on policy asks, framing the value of business ownership to government. I think the value for me in being there was firstly being able to profile what we're doing around promoting cooperatives and social enterprise, both as a council but also within CCIN, and particularly the Policy Lab project that I've been working on to create the council's cooperative development toolkit, but also to get very clearly the council voice into those discussions, so particularly around the evidence base and the policy asks, which are the two workshops that I participated in, because as you'd see from the list of organisations that were there, you've got a lot of people from the co-op sector, from foundations that are on the edge of the co-op or community business sector, and so their perspectives are quite different to ours. What we need is quite different, but also I think us being in that conversation is really helpful in bridging the gap to the policy debate, because we are closer to thinking like civil servants and what they want from policy. So I think being there is really helpful. It was also really good in terms of catching up with different people that I know within the co-op sector. So, for example, James Wright from Co-ops UK, speaking briefly to James Delavine from the Community Ownership Association. That's all really helpful and helps to put both CCIN and our individual councils on the map when they're thinking about who they might be interested in working with. It also enabled, it was absolutely fundamental, in fact, in allowing me to connect up James from Co-ops UK with, I'm just wondering if I think I'm confusing two events, because the Stir to Action Festival was in the same building, and I think
it was in that, yeah, it was in
no, it was that day. So Helen Orlick, who is from Kirklees and is leading on Business for Good West Yorkshire, was there on the day, and I was able to introduce her to James Wright, and she was literally going into the closing week of doing the bid for Business for Good West Yorkshire, and so they actually made the agreement during that week off the back of the introduction at the summit, to pull those two bids together, because Co-ops UK were bidding and they were bidding locally, and that brought together the bid as a social enterprise and co-op program rather than one or other, which was really, really helpful. So there you go. That was last year. It was really good to be there. In terms of this year, what I understand from Johnny is that it is going to be very much focused on the Labour manifesto commitment to double the size of the UK co-op and mutual sector, and essentially how do they do that? What should we be proposing to government? Where are particular opportunities, and those kind of things.
Thanks, Jonathan. So obviously not everybody's on this call. I've put something in the WhatsApp group. I have sent out an email. I've mentioned the two councils that have said that they're interested. It would be helpful to know what the demand is. Obviously £2,500, if we're only going to get 3 people who want to go, we might as well pay for 3 tickets. So that's the question, really. Is there a demand to attend? Would anybody else like to go? Fiona, you're the closest. It's actually in your town. You could probably walk there.
Yeah, I certainly could walk the Principality Stadium. Yeah, I don't know how much it would help me in my role being there, but obviously in terms of the network, absolutely. And we do work with Compass. I'd like to be able to speak to other people in economic development, in particular within the council, to see what involvement they have. I would like to think that the council's aware this is happening within our city. But yeah, I'd like to find out more. But yeah, I don't know quite how much it would time with my work exactly, apart from my role in the network. That's all. I can find it more from EcoDev.
Yeah, if you could put those feelers out, it seems obvious. You should be a prime candidate, really. Because Emily, are you there? Because you had 2 or 3 or 4 people that were interested, I think, from Oxfordshire.
Hello, yes, I am here. Yeah, well, I kind of have interest on their behalf, in that there are a few colleagues who I think, it would be ideal if they were able to attend. I need to ask those colleagues more specifically, but I guess from OCC, like maybe 2 people, it would be ideal, but it just depends on whether I can kind of sell the why they should be attending, because I think it's part of the kind of like culture change that we're not in the same place in every kind of area of the council, I guess. So I'm trying to kind of like bring colleagues with me.
Okay, so I've just popped the link in there for the actual event in the chat, which is something that it might be useful in terms of for you and Fiona to share with other colleagues and say this is what they're planning, rather than the sponsorship pack. I think we need to give a deadline to this. I don't really need to go in terms of going to Cardiff and having an exhibition table again.
Come and see us, Nicola.
I'll be there on the 6th of October for the half marathon.
I forgot. So, I'll try and see you this year. I missed you last year. I'm not wedded to us having a stand, but I think it would be really useful if half a dozen people were able to go, and we paid the fees for that. Jonathan, how do you want to do this? Shall I put another email out? Shall I put it again in the WhatsApp group? And we want a commitment, really. We don't want to be paying for tickets and then people not going. I mean, there are some benefits of being the sponsor. Like there is this possibility of editorial. I spoke to Johnny and he did say that he had been in touch with Jonathan Nunn. But in the last few days, we've had contact from the editorial team to ask for some text anyway. So I think we might have got that without paying for it. So I'm not going to raise it as an issue.
Nicola, what would be your deadline on this? It's Sally from Greenwich.
I think if we were buying tickets, we just say buy your ticket and we would refund it. That's probably the easiest way. Jonathan, what do you think? Because otherwise you've got to, would you pay for them and then make
probably easiest if people buy directly and we refund.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, the 10 places you're talking about with the sponsorship, where you sort of said if you haven't got enough demand, it's pointless doing it. So I'm just thinking in terms of that approach. When's your deadline for that? Because you're saying
there is no deadline. Stir to Action will take anybody's money up until the day. But I think this is my
so diplomatically put, Nicola.
Sorry, I misunderstood then. I thought you wanted from us as councils, you wanted to understand who was interested.
Yeah, I think we are. I don't think there's you're not all saying we'd love to go. So and that's what Jonathan has said. Jonathan Downs, we should check, somebody changed their name. Jonathan Nunn, 2 from Oxfordshire. possibility of Cardiff, and then I'll go back to Llanelli. I mean, it's we could say, look, anybody can go and we'll reclaim it, but I think we probably need to do a limit on it, and then it also creates a demand, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jonathan, none?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth saying that this is very different to the Stir to Action Festival. It is not, I wouldn't say it's particularly helpful for people who aren't really familiar with cooperatives and what we're trying to achieve in that policy space. And it will be very workshoppy by the sounds of it. So we need to be going at it with an idea of what we're trying to achieve, what points we're trying to get over, and that kind of thing, and how we can contribute as councils to this goal of doubling the size of the co-op and mutual economy. If anybody is interested in going in terms of kind of understanding the sector better, networking with organisations within the sector, I think go for it. But it would certainly be well worth familiarising yourself with all the materials from the co-op option training, but probably too short notice to try and do some co-op option training before the deadline. Sorry, Nicola, I missed what the value of the sponsorship package that they're pitching at us is. 2.5. That's a lot of 50 quid tickets.
Yeah.
I think my view on going for sponsorship.
Yeah, we get 10 tickets for that.
What do we get out of that really beyond the tickets? I don't think we really benefit from having our badge on the thing to a huge extent, but I'd really want to be understanding whether they're managing to get say civil servants from MHCLG or DBT along, because that really is the audience for all this. If it's just creating a lobbying document that they're going to try and pitch to DBT and MHCLG afterwards, less helpful. If they're going to have the ministries around the table, let's give them £2.5 grand.
Adrian?
Hi, interesting. From Manchester City Council point of view, increasing social enterprises in both our work and skills plan and our economic strategy. I'd say I'd probably agree with what people have said, really, that I don't quite see the necessity of having a stand, particularly, partly because of the location. Really, that'll be the main issue with us, really, just getting people to travel. But I'll raise this with our work and skills colleagues. The obvious people to go from Manchester would be the work and skills and someone from the voluntary sector who works on this agenda as well, to see if this would be of value for them to attend, in a sense, via the CCIN. From a policy agenda, I probably agree with Jonathan there, really. If it's got, UK government representation and stuff, it makes a lot of sense. Or if it was, I think it was in Trafford last year, wasn't it? So if it's, if it was in our locale where there was a group of people, it might be more valuable. I've got a few colleagues on here from Greater Manchester, and I know that a lot of the social enterprise stuff is led really from the GMCA as well. So it'd just be interesting if anyone knows of any colleagues from there going. But I'll raise it with Mike in work and skills and get back to you, Nicola, if we think there'd be. I think it's 3rd of December, isn't it? So
yeah. Thank you, Fiona.
of detail that we go into.
I just wanted to say in response to what Jonathan Nunn was just saying about CHLG. I didn't even know the acronym. I know the acronym, but it does not come up in conversations here at all. And those are the UK-wide festival, absolutely. But actually, if the MCHLG were there, they're not relevant to my work. They're not relevant to us in here in Cardiff. From my perspective, I'm not saying everything's devolved, but actually, yes, it's a UK event. There's too many UK ministries. It almost diminishes the appeal. From my personal perspective, anyhow. So yeah, interesting perspective. I think not them trying to make a big divide.
Dramatic, but
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll pop another message in saying, if you're interested, could you tell us? And then that the process will be you buy a ticket and you invoice Jonathan and you get the cost of the ticket back. But they need to say that people need to say how many tickets that they're buying, just so that we're managing it. It's not going to be cheaper to pay 2.5k and getting it that way. Although I don't think it possibly could be. Is everybody happy with that as a decision? Cool. Okay. Jonathan.
Wonderful. Is it back to my items or item, which is the most depressing agenda item for everyone on the agenda, which is CCIN invoicing, of course. So as you'll no doubt be aware, we have entered now a new membership year, which means I have the unenviable process of sending out everyone's invoices for membership. Every year I try and streamline this process and try and make it as easy as it possibly can be, both for myself and for everyone else. And every year we end up with people paying over the next 10 months. So this year, I'm again going to try and make this process as easy as possible. So you will all be receiving an email from me in the very, very near future, which will detail how much your local authority owes for membership for this financial year. It will request details of a PO if required. Again, it were really interesting. Some local authorities have the PO sort of process in place, so some don't. So if your local authority does require a PO, note that it will be coming down the line very, very soon. So it'd be great if we can get those back as quickly as possible so we can get invoices out. And my aim this year is for everyone to have paid before Christmas, which will beat the previous years by months and months and months if we are successful. If there's any issues, if there's any processes which your local authority has which I'm not aware of, can you let me know as soon as possible so I know what we need to do? Some local authorities, for example, have needed to update supplier information on an almost annual basis, and I've had to send signed documents confirming our bank details and all sorts of stuff. So it just helps me understand what I need to do to make sure we get the money in for the CCIN. And as you all know, that money is pushed back out to our members wherever possible through policy labs, policy prototypes, and to fund you to attend study visits where we've taken people to Spain, to Italy. So we always try and reinvest as much as of that money as we can in our members for the kind of work that hopefully makes a real difference to our communities. So if you can get your payments made really quickly, it would be much appreciated. So in the next week, expect an email from me. Please respond as quickly as you can. That's my little pitch, my little spiel for today. Any questions or comments on invoicing? Nope. Good. Excellent. In that case, we will move swiftly on to any other business today. So does anyone have anything they want to discuss or raise? Oh, Nicola?
Does anybody want to go first? Because I've already spoken. Nope. Okay, so we're in September and we don't have a venue and a date for the annual conference. I've had a lot of sleepless nights over the summer, but I decided that I shouldn't worry about it because it's a problem shared. And we've got elections coming up. I have had some contact with 3 London councils, and I'm hoping that their leaders and staff are all back at their desks now. So basically we're looking this year to hold the conference in London. We've extended the window so it can be any time up until the beginning of February. So we're happy to look at early next year for conference location. It's the event that we have the total control over the agenda. We choose who the speakers are, and we choose what the plenary sessions are going to be, and you get the opportunity to organise your own workshops. So it's a big deal for the network. I just, having agreed that we'd hold it in London, I just haven't been able to get that venue sorted and a date fixed. So I think there's only Jenny that's on the call from a London council. Is that right? Oh no, Brent, Andy.
Yeah, Brent as well.
And you got me. You've got Greenwich.
Oh, Sally. Yes. So I'm going to lay it open to you. My geography is not very good at the best of times, so I don't know if any of the councils are close to each other. You know, we could do something cross-border, a bit here, a bit there. So I'm just sharing this challenge with you.
I did put forward, Nicola, to suggest holding it in Brent. It was unfortunately rejected. There's I think we're very close to Wembley, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on with the FA and other organisations in that period. So it was quite.
I've extended the deadline now, so it can be any time. Beginning of February.
Yeah, I'd be happy to reach out again, because our chief exec and leader were quite keen on the idea of it. But yeah, it was just.
And I'm sure Millie would as well, as deputy leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's helpful to know if it's been extended to February. So I'll put another kind of feeler out to see if that helps things.
I would also be really happy to have a chat with any other London councils who, with the idea of if it were a shared thing. I don't know. I mean, I've just forwarded the email that you sent, Nicola, updating that the extended deadline to the colleagues in our service, because the timing was really going to be a problem for us as well. I think the problem is that our team is under a restructure, so we don't really know what capacity might be even available from officer side to do any of this, because it would fall on our team. So I can't predict that restructure won't happen until March. And in the interim, we're all over capacity, so we haven't really got. But at the same time, there's real interest in the opportunity, so I wouldn't completely close it down. Now the deadline was extended. If Greenwich and Brent and others wanted a conversation, I'd be really open to that and see if there was anything creative we could do, because I think there could be real benefit in having a few London councils involved, just given how the size of the.
Yeah, we've got a great space at Brent, like around Wembley and the stadium. But yeah, it's just it's finding a time when the FA or people don't
use it. See, that's the trick, really. I mean, I've worked with Jonathan and Fiona on hosting this conference, and it's as much as you want to make out of it. We hold a brilliant conference in Rochdale. We've done a great one in Croydon. The Rochdale and Croydon ones are worth mentioning because they had fantastic civic spaces. So once we've got that venue sorted, you can participate as much or as little as you like. And then when it comes to the event, we obviously need some bodies on the ground to do a reception desk or guide people in. We need help with finding places that do food, but most of the legwork's done from this chair. So it's finding that venue, and me having coming down and having a look and going, we've got a big hall there and we've got 5 breakout rooms there, so we can do this number of workshops. And we've tried to be more we tried to be more cost effective this time by putting the money maybe into the venue and then not into the food, so people get their own dinners on the night and they can go out, because you've got you're directing somebody to go and have food in one particular place in London. It's like the worst, maddest thing ever, isn't it? It's like go off in your groups and network with each other, and then have all your conference networking. So it's a blank sheet of paper. I know that I've been asked a few times about what the program is and what the date is. What comes first is the venue, and then we'll work the date around the venue. Thank you. Thank you for
Sally from Greenwich. Could you sorry, I'm not on camera for some reason. My laptop's deciding it doesn't want to show my picture today. I'm saving you lot at least, I guess. Question from me, can you please send me the email regarding the conference? I don't know why I'm not getting emails from you. I will then put the feelers out. Also wondering, certainly happy to have a chat with Islington and Brent around it if we get like a positive response our end. And I think between us we've got some great venues anyway, but also local London as a sub-regional. Now we've got the 4 sub-regional partnerships. Wondering if it's worthwhile just reaching out to a sub-regional partnership or 2 to say, look, we're really keen on this, and as it is sort of like a manifesto commitment to encourage more cooperatives, social enterprise type businesses, would they be interested in CCIN coming to a sub-regional event? So I can certainly have a chat with local London around that, if that's helpful.
That would be amazing, Sally, and I'd be really happy to join you. Absolutely. I haven't got Islington in yet, so don't go to Islington, but all of the others that you've mentioned are.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Sally.
Brilliant idea.
I could do the same around West London Alliance as well. So.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Sounds like a plan. Any other business? No. In that case, I will give you some of your time back, and I will see you